Hello and welcome to the Pain-Free Living podcast with me, your host, Bob Allen. I'm an osteopath. I've been helping people to get out of pain since 2008. And today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about pain, funnily enough. Quite a few of the people that I see are athletes. They like to train, they like to go to the gym, they like to exercise. And one of the questions that they ask, the reason they come to see me in the first place is, I've got some pain. I don't know what I did, I don't know how I did it, but doing this particular activity hurts. And they generally say, do I need to give up training? I am one of those people that's very reluctant to tell people to stop their training because, generally speaking, it's good for their health. They enjoy it. And particularly if they're runners, because runners can be a bit obsessed with that running thing. They really don't want to be told that they can't do it. And even if I were to say I'd hold off on the running for a bit, they'd do it anyway. What I say to them is, well, okay, when does it hurt? Does it hurt when you're doing the activity? Has it been getting worse? Does it hurt when you stop doing the activity? And if they say yes, then we have a conversation about, well, okay, I would suggest that you don't have to stop, but you carry on doing the activity, there's a good chance it's going to carry on getting worse. So let's talk about some alternatives to that. And a great example of that springs to mind is I saw somebody about 6 months ago. He was training for a marathon. It was a charity event, so there was a lot of pressure on him to do that. He wasn't naturally a runner, so he'd started doing the running thing. He got up to about 14 miles, and then he started to get hip pain. And being a bloke, like we do, he ignored the pain and ignored the problem for a bit, and it slowly got worse. It got to the point where he was struggling to walk to work and back during the day, never mind actually running. So he came to see me, and he was in quite a lot of pain. So we sat down, we talked through what was causing the problem, and this is one of those rare occasions where I had to say, I'm sorry, but the event, which was actually going to be in a couple of months, I had to say, you're not going to be able to do that event because he'd put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it, but he'd overtrained. He'd gone a little bit too fast, a little bit too quickly, and he's aggravated a hip flexor muscle, funnily enough. Now, hip flexors are quite fixable, but we weren't going to be able to get him to that event in that time scale. So he came in, we did some treatments, we dialed the training right back, we got him back to running again, but there was no way he was going to make the event. So what he did, he deferred the marathon. He then put the effort and the hours into the training, bit of hands-on treatment as well, and he was back to running again faster and better than he was before. That's kind of an example of, and probably the only time I would say, yeah, don't run, but let's go back to basics. Let's get that problem resolved, and then we'll get you back to running again. And like I said, he can run better now than he was before. So should you run or should you exercise and train through pain? As I always say with these things, it depends. Find somebody that can work out exactly what the problem is, then listen to them. And as long as they know, as there are people that know what they're talking about, and there's a lot of us out there, then they'll be able to guide you through what you need to do. If you develop an injury, whether it's through training, whether it's through whatever it is, get it looked at, find somebody that knows what they're talking about, and then work out what you need to do to get that problem resolved. So yeah, that's it really. Should you train through pain? Depends. If the pain's getting worse, no. Find somebody who knows what they're talking about and then get them to help you to resolve it. Okay, so that's it for today. If you thought that was useful, then you can drop a line in the comments. Tell your friends, tell your runners, particularly as we're coming up to marathon season now. Weather's getting better, people are getting out, and running is a very popular thing to do. So if you know anyone that's developed any aches and pains, then point them in my direction, tell them about the podcast, and yeah, if they drop a line in the comments, I'll get back to them and see if I can help.